In the repair shop today, Susie and Jay become rather attached to a leather writing case.
If you could hold it, that'd be super, just fine.
Not there.
Not there.
Otherwise I'll be stuck to it.
You'll be stuck to it forever. You'll be carrying this case for the rest of your life.
Right, let's see if she'll have it.
While gramophone expert Tim has his patience tested.
It's not perfect.
First to arrive is Carol New from Dorset. She has a fragile family heirloom needing the attention of silversmith Brenton West.
Hi,
Hello, Brenton.
you must be Carol. Nice
Yes,
to meet
nice
you.
to meet you.
Right, what have you brought me?
Well, I brought in this mirror, which
Okay.
has been in our family for some time, but has a sad corner to it.
Oh dear. Okay.
It's got teeth missing. It belonged to my great-aunt.
How did she come across this mirror?
She was in service when she was a young girl. It was part of the family she worked for.
Okay.
The lady of the house it belonged to. Sadly, she passed away.
Okay.
And then her husband actually married my Aunt Emily.
Okay.
So therefore, when he passed away, it was all hers. And this silver collection then went to my mother. Sadly, it was a collection of silver, and this is the only remaining piece because my mother was burgled and all the smaller items were taken.
And what, they didn't
So-
take this because it was broken,
No,
or...?
it was too big
Okay.
to put in the
Swag
bag.
And the little piece of damage on that, do you know how that happened?
No idea. Nobody seems to know.
So as far as you know, since it's been in your family, it's always had...
It's always had that piece missing, so...
Okay.
And on the back, it will stand.
Okay, so it goes on the dressing
But
table
it's
or something?
broken, you see.
Oh.
So I think that was silver-plated, that hinge.
Okay. It is a lot of work because it's very fancy. Basically, I need to copy another corner. Make all of those little pieces and put them in the right place there,
That would be lovely.
if I can.
Well,
Otherwise, I'll just paint that corner silver and it'll be all right, won't it?
No, it won't.
Okay. Leave it with me and I'll see what I can do. for you.
Yeah, well, I really know it'll be in safe hands with you.
Okay, thank you.
you. My mother, she's 98 and she hasn't really seen that mirror for 3 years because she's living in care now. I'm looking forward to taking it into her and showing her the results. The thought of seeing it again will give her great pleasure.
Outside, Brenton is hatching a plan to mend the much-loved mirror.
So tell me you have figured out how to fix Carol's mirror.
I have figured it out. I'm just
Okay,
working out
cool.
how I'm going to make all these pieces because I've got to copy that corner.
Well, I'm going to throw a bit of a spanner in your
Go on,
works,
then.
but these are not identical, are they? They're all different.
That helps me a lot, doesn't it?
So, as the corners are not the same,
Yeah.
how are you going to do that?
Right, well, what I've got to do, first of all, is this is a repeating pattern up here, so I've got to work out exactly what part of that pattern it is. Because I'm going to make basically 2 pieces that go into this corner and pin it onto here. I'm going to use very thin silver, and I'm going to chase them.
Chase them.
Chase them.
And that means what? It doesn't mean
So-
running around,
so you
does
get-
it?
Let me show you how it works on a bit of copper.
On that, will that do?
Yeah, that'll do, lovely. So if you go and you tap it, and when you take it off and turn it over, it's raised up.
The technique of chasing metal to create intricate designs has been around since the 3rd century BC.
When you're moving it up and down.
Yeah. You turn that over, you've got a raised bit there.
You've done this before, haven't you?
I've got an award for doing this.
That's what I like to hear.
Before Brenton applies the ancient metalwork technique to a new piece of silver, he's using some modern technology to create a template for the missing detail.
I took photographs of the repeating pattern, so that repeats, repeats, and repeats again, and I joined them together in photo editing software. So I'm just tracing that, so I can then transfer it onto my piece of silver, ready to start the chasing process.
Next to arrive is Michael Quirk and his daughter Mary. They have a treasured piece of family history that has sat silent on a shelf for over 50 years.
Good afternoon to
How are
you,
you?
by the way.
How are
I'm
you?
Tim. Well, I can guess it's a phonograph. What's the story
Well,
behind
you
it?
know what, you've seen one before, haven't you?
Oh,
I dare say yes.
I have seen one before.
One or two, maybe, yeah?
Yes.
Tim Weeks has dedicated many decades to repairing all manner of music-making machines.
What's the story behind this? Have you had this for long?
I got it about 1967 or 68.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, you didn't buy it new then?
No. My mother's sister lived in what you call Ballarat, a small town, market town, Ballarat. And the back end of the last century, I suppose, this thing used to have that playing. That was their music, them days. Consequently, her husband died in 65, and she said, would you like this? I said, yes, I would, I'd love it. So I brought her back to England with me, and put it up on the shelf.
Oh,
and,
yes.
Thought no more about it until a couple of years ago. And then I thought, I'll have to try maybe someday get this thing repaired.
Oh, here you are. This is an Edison gem phonograph. The model started in about 1897. Do you remember actually hearing this played?
I did. I heard it once. I was very, very young. I'd say I was about 7 or 8 years of age, something like that. And I heard it once. She had it working then. My aunt was very musical. My mother was as well. The two, one would be playing the melodeon, and the other one playing the fiddle, or they'd have this on or something, you know. And
You just turn up.
yeah.
You know, there wasn't anyone would just turn up even late at night, midnight or anything. Just
So people would be dancing,
dancing
to the sort of, well,
yeah. I would love, for the want of a word, nostalgic, I suppose, is it? I'd love to get it going, to listen to it again.
if it's possible,
Yeah.
I'll get it going. Until I actually take it
take it
apart and
apart,
find
yeah,
out what's
yeah.
happened inside, it's impossible to say for certain.
There's no harm in having a look on it, is it?
There's never any harm in having a look.
No. I'll go as far as saying that if it was fixed again, I wouldn't think much of walking from Oxford back down here for it. You know, it means that much to me.
Well, that is quite a challenge, and I'll take the challenge. So if you go home and polish your walking boots up, I'll see what I can do with this, all right?
Thanks very much.
Cheers.
Thanks
Lovely
very
to
much.
meet
We'll
you.
see you later on.
Lovely to meet
Right.
you.
Tell me you've got a tune out of this. Have you?
We will get a tune out of
Okay.
it. We will get a tune out of it, but not immediately.
Right.
Phonographs, which is what this is, an Edison phonograph.
Yeah.
This is the first form of record player.
What is it?
Yes. This one probably dates from about 1906, maybe 1908.
Yeah.
The way it stores the music, unlike a flat disc, is you've got this cylinder
Yeah.
and the groove, whereas on a flat disc it would sort of run
Yeah,
into
it
a
goes
spiral
around
in the
like that.
middle.
Yeah.
Here it sort of runs all round the edge.
So what you got to do now, then, Tim?
Well, there are a number of faults that Edison phonographs are prone to.
Yeah.
And this one has got just about all of them. The major problem is that if you go to wind it up,
That's not moving. Is it?
the handle flies back and smacks you across the knuckles. So we've got to take the motor out, sort out the spring. This, which is the reproducer, should be sliding along that bar up and down, up and down, up and down. At the moment, you can't even
Don't move now.
can't even shift it.
So the reproducer actually plays the record then?
Yes, the reproducer
Yeah.
plays the record by using a diamond stylus. And can you see that thing there? That is the diamond stylus.
Okay. So who was the first person that figured out to use a diamond?
Well, Edison.
Oh, was he?
Thomas Edison, when he invented the whole process. He was one of the people you'd like to have at your fantasy dinner party, of
Yeah.
everyone you'd ever like to meet.
He's a clever guy. I'm impressed. I'll be even more impressed when you get that done. I'll leave you to it. But thank you for the history lesson.
Cheers,
All right.
Jake. Right.
Next to arrive at the repair shop are Sally and David Taylor.
Hello there.
Hello.
I'm Susie.
They're hoping that leather expert Suzie Fletcher can return a cherished possession to its former glory.
It looks like a briefcase.
It's a little writing case, but unfortunately it's a bit worn. I had all my papers and envelopes in when I went away to boarding school, and it was given to me by my grandfather as a sort of good luck present.
And how long ago would that have been?
That was 1962. I remember going to see him before I went to school, and I was a bit I didn't know what was happening, you know, so it was a bit sort of traumatic. But he said he had a present for me and gave me this lovely, it was beautiful then, lovely little writing case. We weren't allowed to ring home, and so letters were the main form of communication.
Did you get homesick at all?
Yes, I mean, I think when you're nearly 12 and you're sent away from home, you do.
That makes me feel so sad.
I know. So it does mean a lot to me in that respect, because I had letters, I probably kept them under here, that my grandparents wrote to me, or my parents wrote to me.
It obviously brings back memories from, you know, her earlier days in life, so she'd really like to get it done up.
Excellent.
It'd be lovely to have it done up.
Yes. Well, it's going to be a wonderful job to work on.
I'd like it renovated as much as possible, and sort of restoring this sad bit here that's falling out.
Your handle, clearly.
The handle looks a bit...
It's a little tired, isn't
unreliable, doesn't it, really?
Yeah.
It's just been lovely to use it again. I mean, I use emails, but it's also nice to receive a letter, isn't it?
It's lovely. It really is lovely to get a letter.
But no, I would definitely fill it up and, you know, use it again. And, you know, it might even fit an iPad in there.
I can't believe you said that.
I know, I'll take it back.
Well, I look forward to getting started on it. So I'll be in touch once it's ready for you to come and collect.
Thank you, wonderful. Thank you very
Sally.
much, Suzie.
So lovely to meet you.
And you.
Lovely to meet you too, David. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
It has a couple of things that really need major attention. The first being the underside panel here is coming off. The other thing that is very tired is the handle. So the main area that's concerning me at the moment is this large bare section here. But I do have the leather that's just peeled back. Provided I don't pull that off, I think I'll be able to piece it back and then cover this with a leather corner that will glue over the three sides. And the first thing I need to do is to glue down this panel here. This type of leather is what they call a leather cloth. It's so fine that if you're a little heavy-handed, you could quite easily tear it. It's just one of those processes. You just take your time. Don't be in a rush. Now I can flip it over. Just need to let it sit for a few moments and let it glue properly. So far, so good.
Out in the metal workshop, Brenton is preparing the new metal for the silver mirror, ready to start recreating the intricate pattern using the ancient craft of chasing.
So this is my pitch bowl. This is quite a specialised item. It's used for chasing and repousse. It holds the metal where you want it. It's like a good glue, which is only held by heat, and it has enough give for the silver to become indented on it, but it doesn't crack. Warm this up a bit, so I'm just going to put that on there. I'm going to heat that up a little bit, just so that it sticks to the pitch, because if it's cold, it won't stick to the pitch very well. So I've decided to stick my tracing on top of the piece of silver. The most important thing, I've got to be really, really accurate with this. So there's a small selection of chasing tools that I've got here. Some of these I made, some of these I was given by Chasing Tutor about 40 years ago. That one there is for doing curves. That one there is for doing the lines. Basically, if you haven't got a tool that would make a particular profile or a particular shape, then you make one. It just takes time and patience. If you put a little bit of pressure as you're tapping it, people have been doing this sort of technique for thousands of years. If you look at Inca gold and Colombian gold, this is a method that people have been doing probably as long as there's been metal and people working on it. So you can see my marks on there. So this is the back, and these lines now give me a guide to where to punch from behind. Quite simply, inside the lines. It's a bit like painting by numbers, tapping by lines, I like to call it. It's very therapeutic. I can just sit here and get lost in the tapping, and it's just satisfying to watch it appear. And every time you turn it over, you get the reverse of what you've made.
At Susie's bench, she's getting to grips with one of the trickiest parts of the writing case restoration.
Sometimes you're able to recover the original handle, but in this instance, I don't feel it's worth trying to save this one. So I'm just going to remove it. So now I've got the handle off. I'm now starting on the new handle here. This leather body is all going to be hidden because I'm going to cover it with pigskin. Just need to fully glue all the little corners and edges here. The important thing is to make sure I've got it right down into these joining edges. Glue onto the pigskin. So now I'm going to flip it over, and I'm just going to use my bone to highlight the spine.
As well as the shape of the handle, Susie must also match the colour of the old leather, which inside the barn has been proving problematic.
Indoor light can cast all sorts of different shadows and shades, and as time was going on, it was going from this blue down to more of a green, then to a blacky blue. So I decided, come outside, natural light, I can see exactly the colour that it is. I have been dyeing the discs to make the coverings for the corner. It's a little frustrating because I've got one that's actually come out a really close match to it. But do you think I could emulate it on the others? Not a chance. So I'm thinking that I shall apply some stain and just see if that gives me the different depth of colour that I'm trying to achieve here. So much better. Yes. Really happy with that. The effect is so much better. Fingers crossed. I think it's going to turn out quite nice.
Once back inside, Jay's keen to see if Susie's made any headway.
Hello.
So how's this writing case?
Where I'm at is the corners of the cases are worn out.
Yeah.
I think it'd be really nice to repair the corners using the leather discs. The first thing I do is to put a slit in it to allow me to wrap around that corner.
So in upholstery, what we would do is cut that bit off, like cut a little triangle so that sits a little bit better.
It is another way of doing it. I like the fact that I've got some extra material to work with that's going to strengthen the base to the sides because it's going to have some weight on it.
Yeah.
I've got this one that's, I think it's going to be tacky enough. If you could hold it, that'd be super. Just
Done,
fine. Not there.
Otherwise, I'll be stuck to it.
You'll be stuck to it forever. You'll be carrying this case for the rest of your life.
Yeah, she can't have me. It's not going to happen.
Okay, so here we go. You got a one-shot deal at this because it's contact cement. Ready?
Yes.
You sure?
I am.
Okay. And really, I know you would like to be doing this.
I just want to stick it on and just like fold it in.
Slap it on, get it done.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Don't rush me. Yeah. Just going to pull it down here. It's lovely.
So now we have to wait for that to become tacky.
Yeah.
To do that side.
Yeah.
Turn it over and then repeat the process 8 times.
8 times.
Wow. All right. I think I've got some emails to send. I'll leave it to it.
Okay. Thanks so much.
Gramophone specialist Tim Weeks has taken on an early phonograph designed by Thomas Edison. It hasn't made a sound for over 80 years, and it's looking like this job could be an uphill struggle.
We take the motor out and we can see more clearly what the actual problem is in here. Well, there's the ratchet spring, so we've got a broken end there and the other broken end of it there, so I think that tells us quite a lot about what we need to know. The job of this is that it stops, as you're winding the spring up, the whole function of this ratchet is to stop the spring, the handle, just sort of flying back as you wind it up and smacking you across the knuckles. Oh, hang on, there's another problem. See that gear there? That should not be loose, that should be fixed solidly onto that shaft.
Luckily, on hand for a second opinion is the repair shop clockwork expert.
Steve, here's one. You may have some views on this. You see how it's meant to wind up by turning that, and then the ratchet goes in there.
Oh, right, okay.
And obviously this ratchet springs loose. But for the life of me, I can't see how it would ever have worked. You got any thoughts?
At the moment, it doesn't make sense.
No.
So when you wind it up, what actually turns?
The handle is turning against that there.
Yeah. Do you know what? I don't know.
Oh, right.
So usually things just make immediate sense to me, and this one doesn't. Do you think someone has had a look at this and played with it and tried to get it going?
Yeah, I think that's what's happened. You see, look, somebody's had a bash at filing it. Can you see there's some stripes across there? Somebody's been in there. No.
Okay, I'll wait until you've taken it apart, then I'll have another look.
So a previous repair attempt may be the culprit.
Right. Now we've got to try and either get a new one of these wheels cut or see if I can just find a spare part somewhere that should go in there and hasn't been messed around with.
It's not long before Tim lays his hands on a clue, which may solve the mystery of the malfunctioning ratchet.
Well,
Oh, you got another one?
yes. I've got another one from my commodious collection of spare parts.
Oh, it's the wrong way round.
Yeah. Someone's put it on backwards, haven't they? But what is interesting, why I've bothered to even bring this over and show it to you, is you can see that little slit in the end where there must have been a spring.
Same as that one.
Fixed in there and that. So that is meant to be there, but not flapping around like that, it isn't.
Can you hold that
Yep.
and hold it tight onto the plate?
Yes.
I'm going to turn that so it would work like that.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to push that and we'll get a centre pop?
There we go. That's made
Good.
them up.
Okay, so I'm going to drill in there and put a pin in.
You're a hero.
Now the odds of hearing this 100-year-old phonograph play a tune are finally beginning to improve, and Tim can start to free up the rest of the mechanism.
What we've got here is, it's a combination of old grease and dust, cat hair, anything else that's floating around, and it goos together and it sets like fudge, where it should be smoothing the passage of the feed screw turning there and this sliding along there. It has the opposite effect. It basically gums it all together and stops it going anywhere. 80 years worth of neglect removed in a few seconds. There we are. So that's got that moving smoothly along there again. We're making progress. We're making progress. We are going to get there.
Outside, Brenton is creating an intricate piece of metalwork for a much-loved mirror. He's finished chasing the design into the new silver, but he still has some complex shaping work ahead of him.
It fits quite nicely, and now I've just got to cut around the outside and the little pierced holes so that they match the holes that we've got here. All of these little cuts here have to be cut out of that. I've got a piercing saw, which is a jeweller's saw for making holes and for really fine cutting. And I've got a 6-0 blade, which is sort of like a hair. They're really, really thin. The saw cuts on the downward stroke and you just let it follow the line. You just guide it gently. Any forcing and the blade will snap because the blades are so thin. A little bit of silver that dropped on the floor, I'll be picking that up and that goes into my scrap pot. And every year I take all my scrap, weigh it in, I give it into the silver scrap merchants in London, and it buys me a cup of tea at Christmas.
Tim and Steve have joined forces to take on a phonograph that refuses to play a note. Clockmaker Steve has been putting all his clockwork knowledge to use on the troublesome ratchet.
Oh.
Music to your ears?
Music, music.
There will be soon.
You are a prince among antique restorers. Do you know that? Oh, that is beautiful.
Is that all right?
Yes. That's what we require. That's what's supposed to be happening.
I'll listen out for the music.
Listen out for it. You'll hear it. Hey, thank you. Right, now, to business.
Now, Tim just needs to put the machine back together.
One of these jobs that basically needs 3 hands. Hold on, what's going on there? Now. There. Should I get that out of there then? There. Now. Right. We've got the motor back in. Bit of a fiddle, but we've done it. We've wound it up, and it's staying wound up thanks to Steve's new ratchet. So, what remains is the acid test. Put the reproducer in. Put a cylinder on. See if it goes. Well, it's not perfect. There's still some adjustment to be done, but frankly, I'm relieved it goes at all.
Leather specialist Suzie is also in sight of the finishing line, with her restoration of the 1960s writing case. After touching up the last few frayed edges with acrylic paint, her final job is to finish fitting the new handle.
As I'm putting the stitches in, it's pulling the leather down around the spine and making it stand out really proud, which is a really nice effect. So I'm now at the point where I'm going to mount the handle onto the case. And the first thing I need to do is just to thread the D through the loop that I made here. Just need to get my pliers and squeeze the two ends together. And there we have it. That's one handle mounted. I'm very happy with it. I'm hoping that Sally will be very happy with the overall effect.
Sally is back to see the case that holds so many memories of her school days and of her grandfather.
Hello, Sally.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
It's good to see you again, Sally.
Suzie.
Nice.
How you doing, David? Hello. You all right? We won't hold you in suspense any longer.
Oh, good.
So you ready to see?
I am.
Okay.
Oh,
Wow.
gosh. Oh, Suzie, that's fantastic. Thank you so much. Look at the handle, everything kind of touches.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I promised I wouldn't say wow, but that is really amazing. Oh, you're so clever. Thank you so much. That's wonderful.
I was working on it. It reminded me of Paddington Bear's case, you know, because it's little, isn't it? But the old handle was so broken that we couldn't just recover it. So I had to remake the whole thing from the base up. Managed to put your leather corners on because they were all, if you remember, just completely blown out.
That's such a good idea. I never thought of that, the corners. So lovely.
The other challenge that I had was the colour match.
Yes.
Because this case, I swear, is a chameleon. Every time I thought I got the colour match right,
Yeah.
it changed.
Whether it's chameleon or not, it's perfect.
Are you going to reunite the bits and pieces?
I've
for
got the
this one?
things to go in.
Have you got things to go in there?
Are you serious?
I found the diary, the little address book, which goes there.
Oh, that's perfect.
I also found a letter from my grandfather to the school.
Oh.
And in there he says, thank you for the letter that I wrote to him.
Ah.
Which proves I used it.
You did, at least once.
It says, my dear Sally, Granny and I would like to thank you for your letter and kind wishes. Glad you are working with your lessons and doing well. And still smiling. Love from both of us, affectionately, Grandpa.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yes, I know.
So this case now, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to write or are you going to put a tablet in there?
No, I'm certainly not putting a tablet in there,
Thank
Jane.
you. Right.
No, I'm going to take it home and fill it full of envelopes and stamps and writing paper and a pen.
And maybe we might receive a letter?
Well, you might do.
If we're lucky.
There's a good chance.
Right. We'll let you be on your travels then.
Oh, go out like Paddington Bear, yes. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Thank you so
David,
much,
thank you.
Suzie.
Thank you.
You're very welcome,
Really,
Sally.
really
It was a
pleased. Thank you
pleasure.
very
Thank
much.
you.
I can't believe that Susie's made such a fantastic job. The writing case looks like new. Really, really pleased. And then added to the fact I found the little letter. It was quite emotional because I could almost hear him saying those words. You know, it meant quite a lot to me.
Silversmith Brenton has spent many hours recreating the missing corner for the silver mirror, but he's not finished yet.
Obviously this is a solid piece of silver and we need the holes so that the blue velvet shows through. So I'm just putting the blade through a hole in the silver so I can cut this diamond-shaped hole out of this little bit of lattice work. I've got to do that with all of these holes and then I can fit that onto the mirror. Okay, so I'm just going to try this piece in that I've made. It's slightly larger than it needs to be, and I'm going to put it underneath the original silver, which is quite firm on here. I've been fiddling with it all afternoon, and it should just slip underneath, and like that. And that's the new corner in. I'd say that's pretty much indistinguishable from the original.
After creating a perfect finish for the front and a final fix for the loose hinge on the back, this treasured looking glass is ready to be returned to owner Carol.
Hi, Carol.
Nice to see you again.
How are you? All right?
How did
All right.
you get on?
It's been very challenging.
Was it?
Very
I'm
challenging.
not surprised. Yes, it's a difficult task.
It was very difficult.
Yes.
So do you want to have a look?
I'm dying to have a look.
Okay.
Oh, my God. That is absolutely marvellous, Brenton. Well done.
What?
It's taken my breath away. Do you know, this is like Christmas for me.
Brilliant. I'm glad that stirs that emotion in you.
Well, you know, it's whole again, isn't it? You know, pardon the pun, you can't see the join, can you?
Not meant to.
It's amazing. I really do appreciate it. Well, you just don't get things like that these days. It's a great piece of history, isn't it? I just can't wait to show my mother.
What do you think she'll think of it?
It will bring back so many memories when she actually sees it again. She really will be thrilled.
For decades, the mirror had been an ornate jigsaw puzzle with a missing piece. Now it's whole again and ready to be restored to pride of place.
I am absolutely delighted. It is fantastic. I mean, you really can't tell. It's been such a beautiful job, and Brenton's so talented. I'm just thrilled to bits. And I feel I've done something good for the past and the future, really, by getting it mended.
Gramophone guru Tim Weeks is attempting to restore the voice of a treasured phonograph from the turn of the last century. He spent days grappling with it, and though there have been many bumps on its road to recovery, after some further fine-tuning, Tim's on the home straight.
Right, let's see if she'll have it.
Moment of truth.
Well,
that is great, isn't it?
really good. This was entertainment in 19...
Well, I was about to say, is this what music was like in the olden days?
It's just a lovely, lovely piece of equipment. Very, very clever.
It's the origin of recorded sound, so...
John, Michael is going to be so happy with this.
He is going to be absolutely made up.
There is a bit of fine-tuning to do to it yet before it goes back to him. But if he's not heard this go since he was 8 years old...
Yeah. Oh, well done you. That is fantastic.
I thought, what do we do now? Go down the pub, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Good.
See you later.
Michael Quirk inherited the phonograph from his aunt in the 1960s. It evokes many memories of his boyhood back in rural Ireland. Now his long wait to hear it play again is over. Tim is personally delivering this labour of love.
Well, I'm feeling very pleased to have actually got this to work properly. It was a bit of a fiddle. I've given it a few final tweaks and a bit of fine-tuning. Now I'm happy it's actually running as it should do.
Hello, Tim. Hello, Tim. Been waiting for this minute, Tim, for a long time, yes.
When you left this with me at the repair shop, you said if we could get it going again, you'd walk all the way down there to get it. I've had a look at the weather forecast, and I didn't think I'd make you walk all that way. There we are.
Right.
It takes a lot of winding, doesn't it, eh?
Well, yeah, it's a brand new spring in here now, of course. Then, of course, the horn pops on there. And the most important bit is to put a cylinder on. We've tried to come up with an appropriate tune for you. So.
What do you think?
That's great, Tim. Unbelievable, isn't it, eh?
Feel free to join in.
Yes, lovely, isn't it, eh? God, I remember the sound and never hears it. Yeah.
Been a while.
Yes, know it now.
Yeah. But I can nearly see it sitting on the table at home with my aunt. No, it's beautiful. Lovely.
What's it like to hear that again after all these years?
Honest with you, I didn't think it could be done.
Oh.
And it brings back some memories, Tim. It does, yes.
Everything can be done. Everything can be done with a little bit of thought and a bit of elbow grease.
It's a family treasure.
It is, yes.
There's a few cylinders there. You can have a recital and invite your friends round.
That's great, Tim. Great. I do appreciate, Tim, what you've done. You never know what it means to me, Tim.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure, Mike.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you very,
Mary.
much.
Good to meet you.
For me, it was great to see that we've done it, that I've helped him succeed in something he's had on his mind for a long time. I was pleased, relieved, delighted.
It means an awful lot to me to have that working and bring back memories of my family, plus the fact that I can pass it on to my daughter, who I know is treasured. And hopefully it'll be there for generations to come, for other people to get as much pleasure as I got out of it today.